Hello, everybody, and welcome back to episode 3 of Slapshot Versus. Before we get into our bits and bobs with our next guest, who obviously you can see by the cover of the video and the title, I just wanted to review very quickly about last week's results. So, just as a recap, in our first week, we came up against Brendan Sellen, and I was lucky enough to, well, we say lucky enough, but I ended up winning that week. So week 2, I wanted to test myself again, and obviously Kel was kind enough to come on for a Slapshot special last week. One thing I do want to mention is that it is totally on me. You might not have seen last week's episode. I totally messed it up, I think, with the algorithm. So when I was due to schedule the video, I scheduled it for the morning of the day that I was scheduling it for, which was already the afternoon. I think it messed up the algorithm a little bit. I had people messaging on the inbox saying, "Where's this week's Slapshot Versus?" They couldn't see it in their inbox. So I think it's sorted now. So if you do want to go back and check that out, then by all means. But if not, obviously I'm going to give you the recap now. So this is your warning before we go forward. Be sure to go check out that episode. And if you have stuck about now, then obviously you might have gone back and watched the other episode, and now you might be back. So welcome back, or if you were still here, then let's just carry on. So last week there was a few different results that was predicted from me and Cal. We both tried to go the opposite ways, which is always nice to see. And I can reveal that there was a correct score in this week's predictor, and unfortunately it wasn't for me. So when I saw this on Saturday night, I was a little bit worried, I won't lie. Kel correctly predicted that Swindon was going to beat Sheffield 3-2 at the link, so fair play to Kel. Now, did that affect the results or not? So as a little recap, as we always do, it was 1 point for predicting the correct team to win, 3 points for a correct result, and 1 additional point for predicting overtime, shootout, or a shutout. So I can reveal that this week the winner was nobody. It was a draw. So I correctly predicted 6 results correctly, and Kel predicted 4, but he did get a correct result. Sadly, my prediction of Emil Svek to get 3 points over the weekend wasn't the case. Emmy got 1 goal and 1 assist over a tough weekend with Leeds, and KB predicted that Caden Villegas would get 3 points, but he got 1 goal. So at present, this is how the leaderboard looks. I have averaged out my scores to keep it fair and even, because obviously I'm not going to add 6 points to 9. So I have been averaged out now. Now that this is done, we can go into the video with Calum, and let's see what kind of predictions he has before the final week of our NIHL national playoffs. Hello everybody, welcome back. So as I've just mentioned on the previous clip, week 1, I beat Brendan Sellen, so that was 1-0 to Rossi. Last week, Kel Beatty got a perfect score to draw it up, so we both got 6 points. So Rossi is technically undefeated, but our next challenger is here, and as you'll have seen yesterday when we released our latest Slapshot special, Mr. McGill joined us for a thoroughly enjoyable interview, and he is going to be the last professional to sort of come at the Slapshot versus predictor, and this one's I'm a bit worried about this one because Cal's played with plenty of players in this league. So how are you feeling about it, Cal?
Feeling good. Hopefully I can hand you that first defeat.
So just for context for Cal, so what we're going to do is we're going to go through every game this weekend for the NIHL national playoffs. If you correctly predict which team is going to win, you get 1 point. If you correct the exact result, you get 3 points. If you predict that the game's going to go to overtime, shootout, or a shutout, you'll get an additional point. So, for example, if you said it's going to be 3-2 in overtime, you get 4 points. Okay. And then at the end, what we're also going to do is we're going to predict a player that we think will score more than 3 points over the 2 games. And if you do that, you'll get an additional 2 points.
Okay.
So, first off, I'd like just a little bit of insight as to your experiences about these teams. On the Friday, we've got Sheffield Steel Dogs against the Romford Raiders in Group A. And for context on this one, in their group, Swindon have already qualified, and Peterborough are pretty much, if not already confirmed, to be out. So Sheffield are currently on, I want to say, 6 points. Romford are on 4, so Romford really need a double header here. So, what was your experiences like playing both of those sides?
Both really tough sides to play, right? Like that Sheffield side's a very, very good side. They're
Mm.
very competitive every single night. They've got some really, really high quality players from imports to Brits as well. And Romford, they're never out of the fight, right? They graft away all the time and work their bag off no matter what, and how they got into the playoffs, right? So yeah.
So this one's on a Friday night. Then it is in Sheffield. Would you like me to go first, or would you like the honours?
You can go first.
So I'll set the bar then, right? Um, so Romford need to win both of these games. Unfortunately for Romford fans, I am going to go with Sheffield. I'm going to be respectful towards Sheffield, and I'm going to say it's going to be a 4-2 to I'm going to be respectful to Romford, sorry. And I'm going to go 4-2 to Sheffield, and the way I envision it is it being a really tight game until the end, and maybe a 3-2 empty netter or something like that to make it 4-2. So I'll go 4-2 Sheffield. What do you think?
Ooh, I think I'm gonna go. I'm gonna again. Sorry to the Romford fans, but I think I'm gonna go with Sheffield on this one. But I'm gonna say it's gonna be 3-2.
3-2. Nice,
Yeah.
nice. I like that. Okay, 3-2. And that would obviously see Sheffield through and confirmed for Coventry, which would be very interesting. The next one has huge stakes, and that's in Group B, and it's Hull Seahawks, and they'll be hosting the Telford Tigers. So in Group B, if you didn't know already, for everyone that's watching, Leeds Knights start the weekend on 6 points, and MK, Hull, and Telford are all on 4. So Group B is wide open. Realistically, those with 4 points need a 4 point weekend. So, how do you see this one going, Hull and Telford?
Hull and Telford. I think I think Hull will take this one, and I think it will be probably 4-2 is what I'm
4-2.
thinking.
Okay. How did you find playing Hull? And maybe after the change with them obviously bringing Heskey in, what were your thoughts about playing in Hull and obviously against Telford as well? Because they're not an easy side to play, I imagine.
Yeah, both sides really hard to play against. Like to be completely honest, every side in this whole league is
Yeah,
really tough to play against, and
yeah.
always going back to Hull's a tough place to play.
Mm-hmm.
They're always a tough team to play. They've got some very, very good players, and yeah, when they brought in Heskey, it was definitely a tough goalie to get past. That's for sure. Yeah, he's a very good goalie.
Right. So you went 4-2. I'm gonna be a little more confident. I'm gonna go 5-2. Would have probably gone similar to you, but I don't know. I think the home advantage, the way Hull will sort of get up for it, I think it'll be 5-2. Next one then, back to Group A. We've got Swindon Wildcats hosting the Peterborough Phantoms. Obviously, Swindon's already through, Peterborough are already out, but it's going to be the last home game for Aaron Nell and Sam Bullis. So, do we see Swindon taking the foot off the gas, or do you see them trying to build as much momentum as possible?
I think especially with it being their last games that they're going to want to put a show on for the fans. So
Yeah.
I think they'll really step on the gas for that game, and then probably ease off going into the next game and
Yeah.
start resting a couple of guys maybe. But definitely for that last home game, they'll be up for it. So I'm gonna say probably 5-1. I'd say Swindon.
Nice, nice, resounding win. Hard for is it? I don't know if you've ever been in the situation, but is it hard as like well, obviously you have because you were with Seahawks last year, but is it hard going into games when you know your fate's already sort of sealed? Would you say if you're a Peterborough side?
For sure it is. It's always tough. It's never enjoyable going into a game where you know, okay, well we're playing for nothing at this point,
Yeah.
right?
Mm.
But also on the other hand, you as a hockey player, you know that each and every single one of those guys are going to be playing for their own pride and for the pride of the club, right? So and trying to do it for the fans. So it's going to be it'll be a good game for sure. But I think it will. I think Swindon will walk away pretty confidently with that win. I think it will be tight for the first at least period, maybe a period and a half, and then I
Yeah,
think the floodgates will probably open up a bit.
love that. I'm going to go for a similar vein. I'm not going to go as much of a gap because I know who they've got. I know who they've got on the first line. I'm going to go 5-3. I think 5-3.
Okay.
So far we've both gone for the exact same teams, which is interesting because at this point in the last couple of predictions, I think me and Selim pretty much went different on every single every single team. So you're a lot bigger, a lot more of a challenge. No offense, Brendan. Next game we've got MK Lightning hosting the Leeds Knights.
Eh, both really really tough sides to play, right? Going to MK, it's a massive pad, right? So
Yeah.
it's a totally different style of game going to play there, and they know how to play on it. But yet again, you can never count Leeds out ever, right? No matter even if they have a short lineup or a full lineup, right? They're an unbelievable side. They've got some very quality players, and with the kind of position that they're in, I think especially that first game would seal it for Leeds. So I think that they're going to put all their eggs in their basket there
Yeah.
and really go for it that first game. So I think that that first game, I think they're going to probably. I think Leeds will take that first game,
Nice.
probably 4-3. I think something
Oh,
like that.
you know what? That's interesting because I had the exact same scoreline in mind, but the reverse the other way.
Oh, okay, okay.
The reason being is I feel like MK during this playoff series have notoriously been really good at home. Like we played them in the first game. They came with a really like I don't want to be disrespectful, but they came with the complete wrong approach in our arena, trying to get real rough and aggressive, and it just didn't work.
Mhm.
So we were so confident going into game two, and they ended up like trouncing us like 6-1. They just played hockey and was really good. So they obviously know how to use their pad, like you just said. Leeds, I know that they're going to be short bench and stuff, but I don't think that's going to be a huge factor because, again, look at the players that they've got individually.
Exactly.
But just because that 6-1 game lives rent free in my head, I'm gonna go 4-3 to MK. I'll even chuck in.
Okay.
I'll chuck in an overtime as well. Why not?
Okay. Okay.
So, but Leeds on 7 points, which would be an interesting one.
Yep.
Um, Going into the Sunday games, then the reversal. It's Leeds hosting MK. So how do you see that one going?
If it goes the way I think, they'll then probably rest a couple of guys for Coventry because they'll obviously have secured that spot. So I
Yeah,
think MK will probably take that one, and I think it would probably be. I'd probably go same score line. Let's go 4-3,
yeah.
but MK, and we'll say overtime on that one as well.
Nice, nice. So me and the lads went to Leeds this week. Leeds away to Hull. We went to did the full double header, and there's just something about that rink and the way the players get up for it that I said to Azza and Brad early in the week, I can just see them splitting the points. Them two was like adamant. There was like they're losing pretty much a full line. Like they're not they don't think that it's going to happen. I do. I've seen what Sam Gospel can do multiple times in person, and this playoff season, this playoff series, sort of last couple of weeks, he's been ridiculous. Like some of the saves he made against Hull were outrageous. So for that, and because Goz is a friend of the pod, I'm going to back Leeds. I'll go similar to what I did earlier. Actually, no, I'm not going to go 4-2. I'll go 3-2 to Leeds. So
Oh,
that
okay.
that I think would mean if Leeds would be then qualified in my eyes, and Hull or Telford would then need to win and both games. Otherwise, MK I think would be sitting in the driver's seat right now. So interesting. Hope that's not the case for the Seahawks, obviously. Next game we've got Romford hosting Sheffield.
Romford hosting Sheffield. Going to the Sapphire is a really tough place to play.
Yeah,
Especially with their fans, the way that rink's set up. It's a very very tough place. The fans are right over top of you. You can't hear a thing. It is. It's a tough place. I think by that point, I think Sheffield would probably have qualified or be
Yeah,
close to qualifying, right? So uh, I'm gonna stick with my guts again and go with Sheffield on this one, and I'm gonna say it'll be a 4-2 Sheffield
nice,
with an
nice.
empty netter or something like that. Yeah.
I think I thought you was going to go the opposite way there. So you was going to go for Romford. I listened to your points and I was like, yeah, he's right, he's right. So I am going to go Romford.
Yeah. Okay.
Last game of the season, like you said, big fan team. I think they, the team
Definitely.
both ways as well. They appreciate the fans as much as the fans appreciate them. So I think they'll want to go out with a bang. I think if Sylvester and TJ and all those guys are not going to Coventry, they're going to want to put a show on for the last game.
For sure.
So I think it'll be 5. I could see them maybe like securing it on Friday. Brady Parker gets a rest on the Sunday, and then sort of like Romford going for it a little bit. No disrespect to Dima there.
No, for sure.
But 5-3 Romford, I'm going to go.
Okay. Yeah.
Second to last one, sorry. Peterborough Phantoms hosting the Swindon Wildcats. Peterborough's last game of the season, home game. Sorry. How do you see this one going? Do you see it the same? So Swindon resting a few.
I think I see it that way. Swindon resting a few and a few of those big guys, those key players, right? And obviously, same kind of thing. Peterborough will probably want to go out with a bang because they'll
Yeah,
be out at that point. And going from that, I think it'll be with the guys that they have. They're a strong side still, right? And
yeah.
I could probably see them going. Mm, I'll go 5-3 for Peterborough on this one.
Nice. I was gonna back Peterborough too, but I think for the sake of the predictor, we need a couple that are a bit different. I'll try and predict that Swindon are gonna snake like a 3-2
Oh,
away.
okay. Okay.
If I'm being honest, I would have backed Peterborough as well, but I think that if we go all the same, we'll end up with like a 6-6 draw or something.
Gotta take a stab, right?
That's it, right? Yeah, 100%. And then last one, which could be, a very definitive game in Group B. We've got Telford Tigers hosting the Hull Seahawks. So Hull Seahawks going away to Telford. How do you see it? Telford, as they call it, the jungle, I've heard is not a very nice place to go.
No, it's not. It's a very, very tough place to go play. They've got their fan base is really good for them, right? But not very good for the away team. But yet again, Hull traveling support's always really good. So
Yeah,
I think it'll be a really good game, and I think this one's gonna end 2-2 in regulation and
nice.
end up going to overtime, and maybe you know what? We'll take a stab at it. We'll go 3-2 Hull in a shootout.
I knew you was a Seahawk at heart. I'm joking. Seahawk 3-2. I love that. That would be. I don't think that I would survive into overtime if it was due to a regulation. I know where you're going with that 100%. I'm gonna try and be, for the sake of my own ticker, I'm gonna try and say it'll be done in regulation. I'll go 4-3 Hull, and that is total bias towards my team and the fact that we haven't made it to Coventry yet, and I have not seen my own team make it to Coventry yet, and I'm manifesting it. I'm sending everything out into the world for it. So yeah,
Oh,
I
that's
love
awesome.
that. Love that you went for Hull. So that wraps it up then. Last thing we need to predict is a player then that you think will get over 3 points this weekend. And don't want to help you too much, but maybe think about those teams that might have already qualified and stuff like that. So, for example, Logan Van der Merak has been ripping it up the last couple of weeks, but if they
Yeah,
secure it on the Saturday night, the chances are he might have a rest on Sunday. So,
for sure. That's a tough one, to be completely honest. That's a really tough one.
yeah.
Uh, let's see. You know what? I'll go with the big guy because I lived with him last year. We'll go Emmy.
MA.
I think he'll get 3. He gets up for those big games. So
Love that. Yeah. I backed ME not last week, the week before, and he came up clutch for me. I think I was like, oh no, it was last week. I think he was really good this weekend as well. Yeah, so love that. So Carly's going for Svek. I'm gonna go for and also without getting too much into it, I bet you had a whale of a time living with Emmy. I bet that was eventful.
Oh yeah, he's a great guy. He's a great guy.
I'm gonna go. I went for a Seahawk last week and a Wildcat the week before, so I don't really want to go for the same side. I'm gonna go for an obvious one, and I think he might get rested on the Sunday, but I'm gonna go for Genjinov.
Okay, yeah, that's a good one.
I think on the Friday they're gonna have to go for it, and I could see him getting 2 goals and an assist, or a goal and a couple of assists on that Friday.
Yep.
So I'll go Bear Genjinov. That seems like a bit of a cheap one, that considering how many points he's got this season, but I'm
Yeah,
here
but
to win anyway.
exactly. You gotta do
Yeah.
what you gotta do, right?
That's it. That's it. No, I know you've just spent like an hour and a half talking to me, but I'm sorry, I can't be. I can't be nice to you at the end of this. I'm afraid. But like I say, with that, obviously that's wrapped up. I appreciate you. That obviously this has been a full stretch for those who will notice that we're still wearing the same clothes and things like that. Like Cal kindly came on. We had technical difficulties at the start, and he's done the full stretch. So Cal, I really appreciate it. It's been great, sort of chatting with you and getting to know you a little bit more. So really do appreciate it.
Of course, man. I loved it. It's good to chat with you, and as I said, I love everything that you guys are doing. It's great podcast. Listen to it all the time, and
Oh, man.
so happy to be a part of it. Right. So, yeah, it's been a pleasure of mine.
Appreciate it. Cal, for the record, guys, as soon as I put the message to Cal about coming on, he was so transparent about coming on as well. So that's greatly appreciated. But that was this week's Slapshot special. A big thanks to Cal again for joining us. If you haven't already, be sure to go check out his Slapshot special yesterday. Plenty of insight about a massive season for him and what's to come for the future. So, yeah, finally signing off, Cal. Really appreciate it.
No worries. Thank you. Thanks for having us.